Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the live stream for the Rocky Mountain Horse Expo. We've got another booth presenter here. Cody Keuhl, is it?
Keuhl, yeah.
Keuhl.
Yep.
And he makes some really awesome artwork. We got some sort of like paint splatter type artwork here that's over top of a really nicely detailed cowboys fighting and gunfights. And this stuff is freaking awesome, and it really reminds me, for those of you in the audience who might be gamers, Infamous Second Son, like the artwork and the ink drawing of Infamous Second Son that was all done by hand for the cinematics is a lot like what Cody does, and this stuff is great. So what can you tell me about your business, Cody?
You know, I've been showing and doing artwork for the last 6 years in the Fort Collins, Denver area, you know, up and down the I-25 corridor. Been out and about doing festivals for the last few years. I started doing the Western stuff more about 3 years ago. I was looking for a different kind of way to do this, this Western-y kind of feel, so developed a technique where I actually mix the pigments on the canvas with really watery kind of acrylic pigments, and then I do acrylic overlays on the canvas to complete the picture. And then this weekend at Rocky Mountain Horse Expo, I have some extra large watercolor prints of some of the cowboy images. And then I have $20 prints, $50 prints, I have canvas prints, I have the original works, and I even have horse-themed t-shirts. I got the whole shebang here this weekend.
That's what we're here for, is horse-themed shenanigans.
Horse-themed shenanigans. And also, I am in the Art in the Park, so if you get by the Art in the Park, vote on my painting for the first, second, or third.
Well, you certainly got my vote, so show me like another pan through of your different pictures.
So this one was a commission by the Four Seasons Hotel in Vail, and so it's up in a condo up there. This one's called The Outriders. This one is an homage to the Sergio Leone movie called Once Upon a Time in the West. It's actually missing the third character, which he shot, but I like this composition a little bit better.
No, that's good. You can see him. He's got his hand on his pistol, doing the quick shot.
Yeah.
Really pulling back the hammer of the gun, and then these guys just got zinged. That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, it's that opening scene.
You really get a lot of the sense of what's happening with the flow of the different textures here.
Yeah, thank you.
It's very bright, and it has a lot of energy to it, and this is the only time I'm probably going to get to use my art history speak from school on the video, so I might as well get my fill. Yeah. So is there more of a story to this one? Who commissioned this one?
This one was actually an original for me, but it's really an homage to one of the old movie posters for the movie Once Upon a Time in the West. Sometimes I take I try and tell a different story, but sometimes I'll do something as like a study, as an art study. So this is that infamous first scene in that movie. So,
because I saw this one guy when I was in college. He came to visit from Germany, and he would take scenes and he would just overlay shapes on top of the people to kind of make it. And he would sell those as animations or as frame boxes. Like old I can't say the words today. Alfred Hitchcock movies.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like that, but this is like another reimagining, another inspiration from a movie.
Yeah. And for the most part, I like this one. I like to have people tell their own story. People always ask, is this a certain character? Is this a certain person? And for the most part, I try and create scenes where it's a little more ambiguous than that, so people can tell their own story. They can talk about their own kind of reimagining of what's going to happen or what did happen.
And this is very iconic to what we see of the Old West, that gunfight, that damsel who, not necessarily the princess, but she's still there, there's still that connection. And the West was, was a really violent period in U.S. history for a lot of aggressive expansion, and it didn't really last as long as a lot of people think. It was actually a very short period before the West was really brought back under civilized law through the military, and so this is a very short but very bright, very iconic period in the American history, and you do an awesome job of really
thank you
covering it.
And it kind of bounces back and forth. You know, I do the kind of red splatter over it as a foreground for some of these pieces, and it's it kind of kicks back and forth between the mythos of the West and like really how much we glorify it, but also at the same time it's kind of a critique of the violence of that period too. You know, this one especially is like, you know, there's not a clear victor here. You know, both guys seem to have gotten the worst the worst end of the bargain.
The only person who gets a good deal is the Undertaker in the background, who's going to make quite a bit of money.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I mean, it also kind of speaks to the grungy nature of the way you put it together, to just the fact that a lot of the people who went to the Old West, they didn't have anything going for them. This was their only way of either staying out of jail, staying alive, or making some type of living in the world, where so many jobs have kind of been soaked up by, you know, different immigrant groups who also moved to the West.
Yeah.
And this is really where the American dream kind of draws a lot of its power from all over the world.
Yeah, so absolutely. Cool. Thank you.
Do you do other stuff besides Western stuff?
I have my the best place to go see my work right now is I have a Facebook page called The Art of Cody Keuhl, and it's the page, not the group. I got to abandon the group. But Keuhl is how you spell my last name. And I do pop surrealist kind of stuff as well. And that's just kind of different cartoony, illustrative paintings as well. And then me and a friend are starting a gallery called Red Wolf Gallery. April 1st, we're having our soft opening. And then we're also doing a First Friday show for April, for our grand opening.
I'm guessing you're planning a few pranks for the April 1st
Yes,
show.
Yeah, we're going to do some...
You're an artist, you couldn't possibly escape that.
Yeah.
I might have to come see that, do some
Absolutely.
recording, see the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the one reason I asked if you did lots of other types of artwork is this is great, and I could definitely see, like, games enthusiasts looking for games-inspired characters are really popular right now. You know, movie-inspired, like sci-fi, especially with the next Star Wars coming out.
Exactly. Yeah. So I do all custom illustration for people as well. I've done custom paintings, stuff like that. We started a comic book, but as luck would have it, the fine art took off faster than the pop art. So
yeah, it takes a while to build a webcomic user base. Because I've had a few friends that I met a long time ago on that.
Yeah.
The ancient animation, like cesspit of newgrounds.com. And they actually went off and made their own comics that I still read occasionally. And that takes years, if you ever even get seen at all.
Yeah, and building the traffic, building the audience for that, you know, and it's really tough to recreate the backgrounds that, you know, with the fine art that I can do there. I can create just a lot more vibrant colors, and I feel like just a single image can tell as much of a story with the Western genre as just about anything.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is a gunfight on, you know, probably a gunfight involving like a train robbery or any sort of thing. You can make your own story with a lot of the elements.
Yeah, and
that you see in there.
You know, like this painting or the print for the flush one with the cards. I've actually done a lot of work where I remove as many details as I put in, because with the Western genre, people know it so well. They're so familiar with the language of it.
You could really overwhelm them.
Yeah, and they can tell their own story with really small details, with like a very small amount of information. So,
all right, cool.
Yeah.
So, when did you get started making these custom illustrations?
You know, I've been doing the painting. I showed up in Fort Collins. Started about 10 years ago, taking it more seriously. The last 3 years, this Western stuff I've been developing the body of work. You know, started with the gunfighters, and I'm moving into more building a world around it. That it's not just gunfighters, it's not just the bloodiness, it's not just that. So I'm building like a whole texture, a whole landscape to it.
Yeah, you could easily turn one of your artistic characters here into your own version of the Lone Ranger.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like the faceless gunman, kind of old Western fighter that really you can just fit any character into that for a good Western movie.
Exactly. And you know, it's been about the last 3 years that I've been doing custom painting for people. I have 3 or 4 prints of some of the commission work at my booth. I'm at booth 1221 this weekend. So I have a lot of different looks for it, and really excited to be here at the expo.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining us for the live stream.
Thank you.
Wave goodbye to the internet.
Yeah.
Goodbye, internet.
Goodbye, internet.
Thank you for joining us for more expo action.